What's going on, guys? Today I've got 5 low-level behaviors you need to stop doing. Now, in your life, most of the time it comes down to not what you add, but what you subtract that is going to help you get your results. That is subtracting things that are not helping you, distractions, behaviors, whatever it is. Getting these things out of your life this is how you're going to get the results you want. Now, over the last 3 days, I've pretty much put together a little mini series because I got the video on being a complete man, a high-value man, and now this video on removing low-level behaviors. If you get all 5 of these behaviors, combine it with those 2 videos, you're going to be a radically different person very quickly. So make sure you get all 5 of these. And before we do that, I'm going to give you about 5 seconds to hit the like button, subscribe button, and bell icon so you don't miss tomorrow's video. And let's get straight into it with number 1. All right, the first behavior, guys, is the emotional vomiting. This is the guy who feels the need to give you all this backstory about his life, which leads up inevitably to the tragedy of his present reality, right? So he's got to tell you about how everything in his life's been so tragic that has led him to this very moment. These guys, I see them they'll be in my comment section. Not all of them, obviously. A lot of great people in my comment section. I appreciate the comments, but I'll see guys every now and then, and they hit this just whiny ass comment talking about just I'll see a nofap video, I can't do it, I can't get it. They're sending all these crying emojis and stuff like that. And it's just you look weak. It's like that scene in The Godfather where that dude's crying in front of the Godfather and he slaps him in the face. He's like, you can act like a man. It's that's a true thing about masculinity, and these guys need I think they need Vito Corleone to smack them upside the head sometimes. But here's the thing. Everybody's gone through these hard parts, and I've done this emotional vomiting thing, which is why I know I look back on it, it's one of the biggest I wouldn't say regrets in my life, but it's just cringy, right? You look back, you're what the hell was I doing for months at a time, complaining, being a victim? It's there are better ways to handle these situations. I'm not saying you should repress the feelings you have, but I'm saying don't spit them all over everybody else. We all got lives to live. We all got stuff to deal with. So nobody has time to hear about your drama. If it's really that big of a deal, go get a therapist. But honestly, the best thing you can do is find solutions rather than problems, right? Stop complaining. There's 2 kinds of things in the world. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, said this. There's 2 kinds of problems. The ones you can control and the ones you can't control, right? So if it's something you can control, there's no reason to complain about it. Just go do it. If you can't control it, then stop complaining about it and focus on something you can control. Now, that's the best way to handle these situations rather than spewing a bunch of nonsense out. Handle yourself. Take accountability for yourself. You're not a victim to anything. Second one, guys, is ignoring reality. And this is different than the people who are really cynical, who say they're being realistic. I'm not talking about these people like that. I'm talking about ignoring reality, which this is one that I really struggle with, which is where you try to resist the fact that reality is a thing, kind of. You try to bend reality to your will. So for example, with me, I tend to get really ahead of myself with long-term plans, and I forget all the little steps in between. And most people are like this because we live in a very instant gratification society. So not ignoring reality, respecting reality, accepting reality as it is, understands that there's a process, and you can do the process, but if you ignore the process, you're gonna make it hard on yourself. So for example, if you're starting a YouTube channel, it would be unrealistic and you would be ignoring reality if you expected that within a month you were gonna have 100,000 subscribers. You gotta understand these things take time and effort, right? So for me with this YouTube channel, I've committed 2 years to this channel, which means that from 2 years from the start date, if I get to that point, I've committed. I'm going to use the channel for that long. And at that point, if it's where I want it to be, several 100,000 subscribers plus, I've got a show that I like doing, a podcast live type of show. I'm putting out content I enjoy. It's making me a full-time income, all these things. If it's doing all that, I'm going to keep it going. If I'm sitting at 3,000-4,000 subscribers, at that point, I'm going to scrap it. But it's about that understanding that reality's not going to bend for you, right? This is a misconception guys get, or just people in general get, with the law of attraction, is they think that by using the law of attraction, the world just bends to their will. But this is not how it works. It works in the sense that you focus on what you want, and in a way that lines up with reality, things happen, right? It doesn't mean that everything just bends to your will. It's a very narcissistic thing to think that the entire universe is going to just stop being itself so that you're happy, right? And it can accommodate little old you. And so when it comes to not ignoring reality, it's about accepting reality. And in accepting reality, what you're doing is let's say there's a thunderstorm. You don't get mad at the thunderstorm. You just go inside so you don't get wet. That's accepting reality. That's a part of life. You got to learn to do this. Stop ignoring reality. Accept the process you're going to have to take to get what you want, or just accept that life is how it is, and it's not always fair, and it's not always going to give you exactly what you want. Third one on here, guys, is impulsivity. This can be with money, guilty pleasures. Maybe it's something like you got a diet you're on, but you start stuffing your face with sugary foods, or you can't stop smoking weed, or you're spending your money the moment you get it on something irrational rather than thinking it through. Now, impulsivity has a lot to do with instant gratification, which also has to do with ignoring reality. So these kind of tie in a lot, but basically, you can't build something long term if you're impulsive, and everything good takes a while to build, right? So, I mean, this is one of the most telltale signs is delayed gratification of if you're going to be successful, and impulsivity is the opposite of delayed gratification. I don't really think this one needs much more explaining, guys. We all know, like, if you're just impulsive and you're not planning for the future and making smart choices, you're going to suffer in life. So let's go on and get to the fourth one. Fourth one, guys, is being needy. Most of the time, this is dealt with and discussed towards relationships, and that's obviously part of it, right? Like, if you're needy in a relationship, you're going to be jealous or insecure, but in general in your life, if you're needy for something, this shows an inner lack and the belief inside you that something outside of me is going to make me happy, and this is not going to work, because you're going to get to the thing and you're going to be unfulfilled again because it doesn't fill the void, right? So the reason this is so bad is, first of all, like, I'm not saying you shouldn't want things. I'm saying that you should want things from the perspective of, I'm happy right now and I choose to go in this direction, versus I hate myself now, I need this thing to be happy, right? These are two completely different things. So when it comes to being needy, this also causes you to be very distracted, because neediness puts you in a fearful state. And if you look around at all these people with the coronavirus, clearly when you're afraid of something, you don't think rationally, right? Like, so if you're acting irrational and being needy, you're not going to look very attractive. You're not going to make smart decisions. Like, neediness was one of the biggest issues to me with being able to get myself on track, because I needed so badly to be in this position I wanted to be that I didn't think clearly again about the process, and I ignored reality. So this is like something I personally know this does not work. So being needy in a relationship, you come off insecure, or just being needy for things you want, you don't think clearly about the plan and you just make bad decisions. Fifth one, guys, is not sticking to things. So this is maybe you started on a workout plan, it didn't go the way you wanted, so you gave up on it, or you're building a business, or whatever it is, you start on something, you hit a little bit of resistance, and you immediately stop. This goes along again with what I was talking about with building the YouTube channel. I've committed these 2 years, so I'm sticking to something, right? And the reason this is important is because you're going to hit bumps along the path. Now, a lot of times people make a plan, and then the plan doesn't go immediately how they expect it to go, so they change the plan up really fast. Like, all right, well that didn't work, so I'll go over here. And it's like, you shouldn't be so rigid with a plan that if it's obviously not working, you stick with that plan. You should be able to pivot, obviously, but don't pivot so erratically just because things aren't going super easy for you, right? What you should really do when it comes to planning for something and making a direction you're aiming is you should really think it through clearly and rationally. Don't ignore reality. Look at the situation and be like, all right, what realistically is the process to do this thing? And once you've made that good plan, you commit to the plan, right? Until it's just blatantly obvious that it's not working. And then you evaluate strategically what you need to change rather than blowing up the entire plan. Now, this is a lot of times, guys, again, very instant gratification society we live in. So the moment something's not working, we want to find the easier thing, right? But this just doesn't work this way. And this is so hard for people to accept, including me. I'm not putting myself out of this thing. It is really hard a lot of times to accept the fact that things just take time, and you've got to bet on the future and just have faith in the future. And a lot of times, if you don't have that proof consistently that, you know what, if I put off the thing I want to the future, you struggle to have confidence that it's worth it, right? So you got to kind of go out on faith the first time that you postpone gratification for the future and you work towards a positive end. But once you see that it works, you start to build that confidence and you keep going with it until it just becomes a lifestyle. Guys, if you got something out of this video, give me a like so I can reach more guys through the algorithm. Hit the bell icon and subscribe button so you don't miss tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.